this second. All right, Rob, the big news. I know you didn't watch it. Maybe you heard about it. LeBron James.
Chris, you don't watch. You haven't watched everything. Don't make it like you've watched everything.
That's not everything. This is a dude becoming the all-time leading
Did you have to
scorer in
watch?
NBA history.
Did you have to watch every basket for that to be justified in your mind, or did you have to watch the one? I get that, but I saw it. Don't make it like I didn't see it.
I know you were on YouTube this morning.
You know, I saw it on social media. I saw it.
But anyway,
I don't know if Anthony Davis saw it, but I'm just saying.
He was watching on the Jumbotron, it looked like, but we'll get to that later. But LeBron becomes the all-time leading scorer, most total points in NBA history. And, Rob, I'm going to throw it out to you because this has become, today, every network, we did it, myself and Nick Wright and Kevin Wiles on First Things First. We did the GOAT debate. And where do you stand? Does this make LeBron the GOAT?
Absolutely not. I got a better way for you. No way, no how has anything changed. I mean, people are grasping for straws because they felt like, well, this is it. He's got the most points, so now he's better than Michael Jordan. Well, wait a minute. So Kareem was the GOAT, Chris? Did I miss it when Kareem was Kareem ever the GOAT?
When Karl Malone was close.
Was Karl Malone the GOAT?
Discussion?
Right, in the discussion. I don't remember mentioning Karl Malone's name other than making some phony joke about a mailman and the U.S. Postal Service. I mean, come on. To honestly believe that is what separates you and that's what elevates you is ridiculous, Chris. And there's no disrespect to LeBron and what he's accomplished and being able to stay healthy for most of those 20 years and being an Iron Man and being all that. And I'm not mad at him that it's easier than ever to score now. Pile up the points. You know what I mean? Right? It's easier, Chris. So he could average 30.
But he's still what, 6-7 people averaging 30.
Right.
So even though it's easier,
but
it's easier for everybody. It's definitely easier.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And
I think he knows that. He's probably like, wow.
Right. This is a piece of cake.
Easier than it used to be.
Exactly.
I'm not even close to what I was.
But to say that elevated him over Michael Jordan is ludicrous to me. I just don't see the logic behind it, other than the fact that they have to keep figuring out something to figure out how he's going to pass him. He's not going to get enough championships, right? So they've kind of convinced themselves of that. He can't win 10 scoring championships in a row. He can't be defensive first team, Chris, 6 times in his career.
Right.
Like all those ships have sailed. There's nothing else. So that's why I get why the LeBron people were grasping for straws after last night.
Yeah, look, both you and I have him second to Michael Jordan. All right, but no, Rob, not just basketball, but football as well. The longevity stats, that's not how we have historically determined GOATs. Emmitt Smith is the all-time leading rusher, and there are very few people that would put him ahead of Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Eric Dickerson, because their peak was higher. Okay, and Michael Jordan's peak was obviously higher than LeBron's. Michael Jordan, the way LeBron locked down the Eastern Conference, remember that 8 straight finals in Miami and Cleveland? It was he owned the East. Michael Jordan did that to the whole NBA.
Exactly.
The whole NBA.
How many future Hall of Famers, Chris, got shut out during Jordan's reign?
No doubt about it.
Everybody ate during LeBron's run. Everybody ate.
Right.
Even Dirk Nowitzki ate. I mean, he had a hoagie and fries. He ate. I mean, I'm just saying.
No, it's true. And Michael Jordan was just more dominant on an individual level and on a team winning level, of course. And he did it, Rob, in fewer years. Okay, Jordan won 6 championships in 15 years. LeBron's won 4 in 19. It'll be 4 in 20 if he doesn't win it this year. And it looks like they're not on that pace. That's for darn sure.
Did they win last night? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, right. But the interesting thing is, because LeBron did say, if I was a GM, I'd choose me if I was starting a franchise. Well, the history tells us if I choose Michael Jordan, I'm going to win a championship every 2.5 years. If I choose LeBron, I'm going to win one every 5 years, assuming they don't win it this year. So that's one way Jordan dominated. Jordan led the league in 13 or 13 times in a statistical category of points, rebounds, assists, steals. 3 times in steals, 10 times in scoring. LeBron's led the league twice, once in scoring, once in assists. Jordan's won more MVPs, and Jordan won the Defensive Player of the Year. LeBron didn't. Jordan was all defensive team 9 times, LeBron 6. And this is in fewer seasons.
Right.
And so the dominance of Michael Jordan was just at a higher level. LeBron has been the best player in the league, but he hasn't owned the league, right? Like, where's the run where no one else could win? Even when he was in Miami and they had the best team for 4 years on paper.
And they only won 2, and they could have, if they won the third one, would have been in rarefied air of teams that have won 3 championships in a row.
Right.
So they didn't get that done. And then
guess
even
who has the 2? There's 3 3-peats since Bill Russell.
And Jordan had 2 of them. And here's the other one.
Kobe
Here's the other one with LeBron's 4 championships. During this era, Steph Curry has 4 championships.
Right.
So he hasn't even separated himself from his peers, Chris. Steph has as many.
Yeah, it would. I mean, I think LeBron is clearly the best player, but you would get an argument from some people of whose era is this? Is this Steph's era or was this LeBron's era? If you go back a few years. And so and I think one of the final straws is that, Rob, we can look at every other fantastic player and point to a moment, a series, a string of incredibly important games on the biggest stage where they struggled, except Michael Jordan. Now, Jordan lost, but it was never like his fault. Like, oh, he didn't show up.
Right.
He didn't play well.
He didn't have the.
He was the reason
he didn't have
they
the
lost.
LeBron Dallas moment.
That was LeBron's moment,
where LeBron had an ultimate meltdown.
Yep. And they were the better team.
Yeah. Right.
They should have won that series. And LeBron just, by his own admission, he just fizzled. He wasn't himself, and they were guarding him with J.J. Barea, and LeBron wouldn't take advantage. Magic obviously had the tragic Johnson finals in 1984. Larry Bird, look it up, scored 8 points in consecutive games in his first NBA finals. Kareem was not like the best player on the team for like his last 3 rings, and it was Magic by then. And so you can point to all of these different – Kobe, you talk about it a lot. Just stop shooting against Phoenix.
You remember that.
Basically
That's a Game 7. He quit on the team, Chris.
To prove a point.
To prove a point, which was shocking for Kobe because he was an ultimate competitor. Like, I bet you we could do that over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He would never do that. It was stunning.
And so that's what you don't have with Michael Jordan. Again, he lost. We're not trying to make it like he won every series, but it was like – it wasn't like he ever melted, like the moment was too big or anything like that. And I think those are the things that make him the GOAT, Rob. And I looked this up, too, because, a lot of people talk about, the super teams and things like that. And check this out. These are the teammates.
Oh, no. LeBron's had an unbelievable amount of great teammates compared to Mike.
Well, LeBron's had 6 teammates who were on the top 75 team.
Okay.
Jordan had 4. Now, some people would say, yeah, but LeBron had Shaq when he wasn't the same, although Magic helped carry Kareem. But he had Shaq, and there was another older player that was with him.
Okay.
But Jordan had Robert Parrish and George Gervin at the end of their careers when they weren't very good. Seasons where you had 2 of your teammates make the All-Star team that year.
Michael Jordan had none.
0.
I was going to say, I don't remember.
Never
that's
had,
a 0.
Right.
Never.
LeBron had 5. 5 seasons where 2 of his teammates.
Not one.
Not one.
2 teammates and him. That's 3 All-Stars.
Right. 5 of those.
Michael had 0.
And then top 5 picks. Teammates who were top 5 picks.
Okay, I would say LeBron had 4 and Michael had none.
Wow. LeBron had 34.
Wow.
And Michael had 9.
34 to 9 top 5
top
picks.
5 picks. And Jordan won more. And again, this is not to slight LeBron. We think he's the second best ever.
This is just to give it context, to show you why we came up with Michael Jordan being number 1, because it's not
subjective.
Right.
It's not a,
and it's not
we
just
were
the 6.
Him.
It's not just the 6 championships. Come
Absolutely.
On, it's not that.
Because we both have LeBron ahead of Kobe. Kobe
Right.
had 5. LeBron has 4. We have him ahead of Kareem. Kareem has 6.
Right.
So we want to know, does this in your eyes make LeBron the GOAT? And particularly those of you who do think LeBron is the GOAT. And I'll say this, Rob. this is what I do believe last night did, is if you remember during the pandemic, they had The Last Dance. And it was such a powerful film. And it, to a lot of people that didn't really see Jordan up close.
You remember that.
It swayed them toward, even younger people toward Jordan. I do think that it may not be as powerful as The Last Dance, but for a lot of younger people, they're seeing this. And so for a lot of them, it may balance it where they're like, okay, I think it is LeBron. Or at least LeBron's closer than I thought. I think it's that type of thing.
I think closer is definitely, like, they could say that.
In their eyes. I do think a lot of millennials
they can use that in the plus
LeBron
column.
Is the GOAT.
They can use that in the plus column.
Right.
All right, Chris, let's kick it off with Justin in Tucson, Arizona. Very nice, Justin. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call again. I love talking basketball and listening to you guys talk basketball. I think you guys are encyclopedias of basketball.
Thank you.
So that's number one. Number two, all kudos to LeBron. I wish I had what he was putting in his cereal that would make me as a 43-year-old be as fit and play as long as
that's incredible.
The trick is no cereal.
I'm rolling with Jordan. I'm rolling with Jordan for two reasons. Number one, I think he did more with less. If you look at his teammates,
I agree.
Teammate he played with was Scottie Pippen. He had Dennis Rodman. You could have a murderer's row with who LeBron has played for, all-star games, all those accolades. And I think Jordan made those other teammates better, and they won more. The second point I have is pure speculation. I don't know why Jordan took those 2 years off, and I think the Rockets would have given the Bulls some trouble. But I think if he hadn't taken those 2 years off, we'd be talking about the Bulls being 8-0 under Jordan in the finals.
Oh, it would be close.
That, to me, solidifies.
The only reason he would have lost in either of those 2 years is just mental fatigue.
Right. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. It would have been close.
But look,
you don't know that.
He beat Shaq when Shaq had Penny Hardaway and Dennis Scott.
I remember that.
Shooters like Nick Anderson. It wasn't like they had the great dominant big man and shooters around them. They swept them.
Yeah, I
when he
remember
came
that
back.
very vividly. Nick in New York, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What up, Nick?
I'm doing good. One of my favorite shows. I think you two are the best two together.
Wow.
If you were in the WWE, I think you two would be tag team champions.
Wow.
My man, we appreciate it.
That's right.
No problem. That call that just came in, it was a great call. I haven't heard anyone talk about the 2 years that Jordan took off, where they probably would have won the championships because he was at his peak at that time.
Yep.
The one thing that just gets me upset with LeBron, he's the greatest scorer of all time, but score is one word. He had to put a team together in order to win the championships, but he's not humble about it. He tells you how great he was. We never worried about that with Jordan because we knew he was the best. And him having to do that, I just take a step back, and I do respect what he's done and how long he's done it, but him having to tell us how good he is,
right? Well,
that makes him not the GOAT.
Well, Nick, a lot of people didn't like it, Chris, when he sat back and said that's when he knew he was the GOAT, when they came back from 3-1.
Right.
And we agree that you don't have to say that. Like you just don't, because people will acknowledge it. People know when you're great. You don't have to say that's when I knew I was the GOAT. Who says that?
I liked his approach last night, where he said, "Look, I'm just happy to be in the conversation. But look, if I was starting a team, I'd take me."
Right.
I'm fine with that because a lot of players.
But he
feel
said
that
he
way.
was the GOAT.
But
before.
yeah.
Let's go to Mike in Washington. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What up, Mike?
Hey guys, how are you? Big time Jordan fan, and it's so sickening to keep hearing the comparison because there's no comparison. The two eras that these two played in are completely different. Jordan played in a much tougher league. LeBron was in the league where you can't hand check, and and as far as surpassing Kareem, I would love to see the percentage of points that LeBron made from the free throw because.
Oh, we lost.
Okay,
we got you.
And this is a guy, and perception is reality, and it's pure speculation. This is a guy that sat out the last few games of the season so he could win the scoring title, so his field goal percentage wouldn't go down. The guy's all about himself. That's all he ever be. It's not about the game. It's not about the history. It's not about tradition. It's about LeBron.
All right, thanks for your call.
We were asking for some guys that think LeBron's a GOAT. We want to hear the argument.
Right. Well, here we go. I think Nick in South Carolina is one of those LeBron guys. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. Am I wrong, Nick?
No, you're absolutely wrong, Rob. I am a huge LeBron fan. Actually, I'm a homer, as he once called me. But for me, Jordan is the GOAT for all the reasons you guys said. My thing is, why is Jordan being punished for staying with his team and playing within his system?
Right.
Pippen was a non-Division I player, and he became an all-star. And here's the thing. I don't think the Heat were as stacked as many say because of Wade's health and Bosch's inconsistency. But nonetheless, LeBron still got to pick his teammates, unlike Jordan.
No, but here's what I'll say. Let me say this, Nick, about what you're saying with him picking putting that team, Wade and Bosch. But you tore down the East, Chris. You weakened. You know what I mean?
Toronto. Toronto
I'm not
was
saying
Chris
that
Bosh's team. Miami was Wade's
That's
team.
what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
Like you weakened two other teams and became one. That's what all I'll say, Nick. You know what I mean? And why he was able to run through the East.
No, I hear you. That makes sense. Now, with that being said, also, I want to quickly touch on a quick point Chris made yesterday about this being like the rushing record. I think this is actually kind of like the rushing record, but also being top 25 in receiving yards. So if you think about like someone who can orchestrate an offense while getting his 30 points, going to 10 finals, winning 4 rings, I don't know if we'll ever see something like that again. He's just solidified himself as the most complete player ever. So,
no, look, I think one thing that they'll hold against LeBron, Rob, is that he did handpick his teams. Like going forward after Miami, Cleveland, he knew they had Kyrie. He got Kevin Love, who was a dominant player in Minnesota.
If you remember this,
statistically.
Chris, when he put his letter out that he was coming back to Cleveland, you remember through Sports Illustrated, I think, the letter? It didn't even mention Wiggins.
Right.
He already knew Wiggins wasn't going to be on the team.
Traded, right.
That he was going to be traded. Why wouldn't you mention Wiggins? He was the first overall pick.
Right.
He didn't even mention him because he knew that Love was coming.
And I think we always talk about this, when you're talking about the all-time greats, you nitpick.
Right.
And that is a nit that people will pick. Well, Jordan it's like I've said this before. If I go to the park and I'm watching the game and I say I see the other 4 best players and I pick all 4 of them, and we run the table, fine. But if I go to the park and I'm like, yo, who playing with me? I don't care. Just give me whoever. Right. And I run the table, it's more impressive.
Right.
And that's the difference.
That would be you picking Rob G for your team, right?
I like to see you and Rob G play one-on-one.
Please. Are
you always bragging about how you scored a bucket on Nancy Lieberman.
I scored more than that. She's a Hall of Famer. I almost beat Nancy. I ran out of time.